Okay, welcome back to Fans Pulse Lap 3 of this opening episode of 2026. A quick promotion first of all, just wanted to highlight that over on our Facebook page we have launched our Speedway Experience Day competition for January. We invite you to nominate yourself or someone else, the younger in age the better, as we hope to try and discover or find a future rider. Courtesy of our partners AMSA, Amateur Motorcycle Speedway Academy. The prize each month is to win an all expenses paid place, that's all equipment and tuition, on a Speedway Experience Day held at Scunthorpe. For full details and to enter, please take a look at the pinned post at the top of our Facebook page. Good luck to you. Okay, to round off our first episode of the new year, and given just how cold it is outside, I could have done this tonight with a scarf and a bobble hat on. We thought we'd chase some sunshine speedway. We're better in January than to head down under to Australia, where the Aussie National Championships are currently being staged, although not quite to the same competition level, I would suggest, as it could and should well have been. The Gents is more or less an annual event. Well, it is an annual event. We all hibernate here in the deep of a UK winter, while some speedway riders and some very lucky supporters migrate down under in December and January and get to watch some quality action in oven-like conditions. Do you guys, I just wanted to ask, do you guys take a bit of an interest in the Aussie Speedway season? Simon?
Well, I've bought the BSN pass because I'm a bit of a loser like that and I do like watching it, yeah, but fair play to them for trying to broaden their horizons and doing it first and foremost. And yeah, I bought the pass for 45 quid and I've watched them so far. And yeah, it's Speedway at the end of the day. That's what I love. So I've sat here and watched it like a bit of a geek. I am, but yeah, it's a bit of a shame about the lineup. I don't think it's quite as strong as it could be. If they had the 16 best Aussies, well, it'd be better than a Grand Prix, I think. But yeah, it's good that some of the guys are out there obviously trying to make a name for himself to get a job over here, but it's a bit of a 2-horse, 3-horse race really now, obviously, with Ben pulling out today because of illness. It's, yeah, I think it's Jack's to lose and James lost it in the finals.
Can I ask a question? And this is to all of you, so, and I'm asking this because I don't know the answer. So, from year to year, it does seem that the quality of the rider field for the Aussie Championships varies significantly. So sometimes, even last year, some of the bigger names were in there. Max Frick won it. Other riders were in, Ryan Douglas, etc. Competed last year. But this year, there seems to be a real dearth of the top Australian riders choosing presumably not to compete this year. Can you identify or think of some of the reasons why they would opt out of their own national championship?
Anyway, it's to do with visas and whatnot. Like some of them probably don't have to do it because they've got a 4 or 5 year visa, so they don't have to do it for 2 or 3 years. And obviously, I would imagine Jack's doing it because if he doesn't automatically qualify in the GP next year, he'll get into the GP challenge. He'll probably go do the round, say Lanigo, they normally do one there, don't they? Perhaps go win that and make the final. But if he's already qualified, it's just a bit of a second chance for somebody like him. Although he's good enough, to qualify for the top 7 as it is. It's just a bit of a thing. If he's out there seeing family with his wife and new kid and whatnot, he's got a bit of racing as well. So at least he's fair play, he's participated and done it. But yeah, I think the others maybe got their visas and that already. So, maybe 1 year, in 2 or 3 years' time, there might be a big mass surge because they'll perhaps need the visas back. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Robbo, you race out in Australia. Where did you race, Robbo? And what was the overall experience like? It must have been quite something to do.
Well, I went to race in Australia and ended up not happening. And I took back all my kit and everything out there, and I was going to do, I think it was a major run in a couple of meetings or something at the time. But for one reason or another, it never materialised. But I ended up getting a call to go to New Zealand instead. John McCallum gave me a call, and actually it wasn't. It was Steve Brandon called and said, "Do I fancy going to New Zealand?" and went there instead and raced over there and did 5 weeks around New Zealand, and then went back to Australia just for a holiday, really. So yeah, unfortunately I missed out on it. I did want to do it, and it just didn't happen. And I was quite disappointed. I think it was to do with license. And
Okay.
what it was, you have to, which I didn't know, you have to surrender your British license to take out an Australian license. Or
Right.
you used to have to do that. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. And I didn't know at the time that was what you had to do. And I didn't end up getting a license to race over there. I think that was the reason I didn't do it. But in New Zealand, I think it was a little bit easier to just literally turn up and race.
Very cool. And where did you race in New Zealand, Rob? Was that North Island, South Island, both?
I was based in the North Island and mainly there. So there was Rosebank Road, Western Springs, where they did the GP a few years back. That was interesting. Palmerston North. See, what the thing was, we were an infill for the stock cars.
Okay.
We were part of a stock car meeting, and we went out on basically a stock car track, which is pure clear and bumpy as hell. And then we'd go and race, and myself, Jason Bunyan, Chris Schramm was there, and a couple of other guys. Mitch Shearer, actually, he got his leathers out. Yeah, Mitch, he dusted his leathers off and got back on the bike, and yeah, it was interesting, that's for sure. Because my God, it was hard to ride around some of them tracks. So when Western Springs, I went around there, and there was just no wheel spin. It was pure clear on the whole track. And I think I took about 6 or 7 tyres out there with me. And I think I used 3 of them in that first meeting at Western Springs. It was just tearing them down to the canvas. There was nothing left of them after 4 laps.
Wow.
And yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the only Rosebank Road was the only actual proper speedway track we raced on, I think. And then the rest were either made-up tracks in the middle of a stock car track or on the stock car track itself. But it was great fun. It was great fun. I did 1 week on the South Island. Loved it because I got a chance to look around New Zealand a bit as well, and obviously have a little bit of a holiday because we only actually raced at weekends.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did 1 meeting on the South Island. It would be nice to have done a few more, and see a bit more, but it didn't happen. But I was grateful for having a 5-week tour out there, and then a few years later, I went back and did it again. A year or 2 later, and did
cool.
2 weeks, I think. It was great fun. I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
It's a lovely place to New Zealand. Brilliant place to go to.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to go a couple of times. It's a lovely country. Talking about New Zealand, a shout out to Al Priddy, who is 360 Speedway's furthest flung supporter. Al lives in the Bay of Plenty, Taronga, if I'm not mistaken, which is where I was. So yeah, great to you, Al, if you're watching. I'm sure you are. Crabby, one thing that's always amazed me about Australian Speedway is, given the expanse and the landmass that they have out there, there is no domestic speedway, right? So yes, they've got a number of tracks, but they're hundreds if not thousands of miles apart. So there's no domestic speedway. But you think of the complete crop of world-class speedway talent that Australia has produced over the years, and I'm just going to read out some names, Nigel. Right, some random names. That I promise you, they're random names that I typed out earlier. So Phil Crump, Jason Crump, John Titman, Lee Adams, Jason Lyons, the Holders, Brady Kurtz, Ryan Sullivan, Davey Watt, Steve Johnson, Shane Barker, Jason Doyle, Todd Wiltshire, Troy Batchelor, Darcy Ward, nearly there, Craig Boyce, Max Frick, Josh Pickering, Phil Hearn, Steve Regeling, Charlie Monk, and Billy Sanders, to name but 3 teams worth of Australian riders, and there are plenty more besides. What is it about the Australians, Nigel, over the years? Is it to have that commitment to travel to the other side of the world and I guess have to make a success of Speedway? Is that what sets them apart a little bit, do you think?
I don't know, but the Australians and New Zealanders have been a part of British Speedway since day one, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, as much as I bang on, and I do about the English lads, we want the English lads. But in fairness, the Aussies, the New Zealanders, they've been a part of us since it started. And the Australians have always come over. And there's, as you say, there's no regular domestic speedway all the time, yet they keep producing such world-class riders, don't they?
Yeah.
And at the minute, again, as Lambo says, you could put 16 international class riders in their title, the Australian Championship. Unbelievable, really. You say Max Frick, last year he was something special, wasn't he? Last year, Max was. It was great to see that as well. I don't know why it just keeps happening, doesn't it? It just keeps happening in Australia, and they always end up coming over to England, don't they? And kick on from there. I think, it seems that way anyway.
It does. It does. It's just a perennial thing. Simon, just going back to what we were touching on earlier on, we were discussing or speculating as to why some Aussie riders don't appear to take too much interest in their own national championship. So all things being equal, they've travelled back to Australia. They've got the license or the visa, or whatever it is, and they could compete if they wanted to. Surely a factor, a consideration is their sponsors. Simon, I know a lot of the Aussie riders have Australian sponsors who help them compete in Europe. So surely you'd want to perform and battle in the biggest competition available to you, the national title, for your sponsors.
Oh, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I don't know, but it's not being rude without naming any names. There's a few Brits that should be in the British final every year that say they're ill or they don't want to do it because the money's crap, basically. So yeah, you'd think, it's prestige to be in the British final. Robbo would tell you that this day and age with TV and BSN and this and that, it's a selling point for me. If I'm in it, to my sponsors, I might be on the TV worldwide, but some just won't do it because of the money. So it's a little bit different travelling to Bellevue or going the other side of the world to Mildura or whatever to ride in that. But yeah, like I say, some live over here for long enough. They get UK citizenship, don't they, or whatever, and so many boys come over here and they've got British patrioticality and they look like Aussies and they talk like Aussies and all this, but they're allowed to ride as rising stars and things like this. It's just, it is wrong. This is where we always say we don't look after ourselves enough, but we do everyone else.
They look like Aussies. You mean like flip-flops and stuff? When they come off a plane at Birmingham Airport in the middle of winter with flip-flops.
Derek, if you say hello, Simon, are you all right? I'm going to say, hi, mate. Yes, thank you. Are you? You say all right to some of them. I say, good day, mate. Well, you're riding on a British licence, mate. You say hello. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that.
Robbo,
good on you, Simon. Good on you.
You've got to love that. He says it like it is. Robbo, just another thing. Another reason for entering the Aussie Championship, as I understand it, is the FIM have awarded 2 qualification places for the Grand Prix qualifiers for the top 2 finishers, or potentially the second and third finishers if someone else is already qualified. So for some riders riding back on their home tracks where they've been brought up and they've cut their speedway teeth, it might be the best chance that they have of making some progress in the World Championship trail.
Yes, I did. Yeah, for sure. And it's looking at the moment Jack is at the moment leading the title there and leading the rounds, and Jim is second, isn't he? And Tungate, is it Ron Tungate's third, I think. And so yes. it's kind of a 3-horse race between them, like Lambo said earlier. It's looking like Jack is easily good enough to win GPs and stuff like we said, and be in the top 5, if not higher, in the GPs this season. Sorry. So it could well end up being Jim and Rowan in them qualification rounds, and good luck to the guys. It's it's what they want, it's what they do, and that's possibly one of the reasons they're doing it, as well as a bit of prestige. I mean, I like to think, like Lambo said, with the British Championship, it's prestige. I love being in that. I love being part of it. It was a great deal. I didn't know it did do so well when it moved to Bellevue, but it was still a great day, and it was great to be part of meetings there. But it's all prestige. It's good. It's good. If you've got an Aussie title under your belt, it's obviously good. It looks good on your CV, doesn't it? And it's good for and clubs. The Polish clubs do watch things like that, and obviously Swedes, the Danes, and the Brits, so they do watch it, and it puts your name out there. So it stands you good stead in the future, I think.
I think, in fairness, I think the sheer size of Australia means that to take part in a 3 or 4 round series is hugely demanding. The road miles that you've got to travel, never mind anything else, it's quite tough. But why wouldn't you want to compete in your own national championship? So some names familiar to British fans who are competing in this year's Aussie Championship include the Cook brothers, Ben and Zach, Kenyon Rue, Jacob Hook, Mitch McDermott, Justin Sedgman, Dale Wood and Tate Ziske are all involved, alongside, as we've mentioned, Jack Holder, Rowan Tungate and Jamin Lindsay. We're 3 rounds deep of 4. The third round was held earlier today, UK time, or last night, Aussie time. The first 2 rounds were staged in the beautifully named Albury Wodonga. Albury Wodonga, I'm going to say that again, Albury Wodonga, it's like saying it. And Jack Holder won the first 2 rounds there, and last night the third round was staged at Mildura, and once again Jack Holder was top of the podium. But as we've mentioned, Jamin Lindsay even, has made successive finals, and in the overall standings, it's just 4 points behind Jack Holder, with Rowan Tungate tucked in third place. The final round will be held this Friday at Gilman Speedway in Adelaide. That's Friday the 9th of January. So as you've just mentioned, Robbo, 2 Aussies riders set to get those SGB qualifier places.
Right.
Could Rowan Tungate or Jamin Lindsay be destined for Glasgow in May, when Glasgow stage one of those SGP qualifiers? And a big shout out, Simon, to your point, a big shout out to the BSN crew who are providing the live stream and commentary in situ down under. Hope you lads are coping well with the Australian heat. Nigel, I just wanted to ask, back in your day, Nigel, was it, it seems like so many, well, I say so many, a lot of riders seem to find going to Australia much more accessible to do these days. Scott Nichols has been out there, Leon Flint's out there, Tom Brennan's been out there, Sam Hagan's been out there. I'm up to name but 4. But was it such a thing back in your day, Nigel, where Brits might go and spend that?
I would say it was a lot bigger in my day. Massive, I would think, because every year the British Lions went out there, touring team, didn't they? You had possibly 6 of the top English lads. Bearing in mind, going back to them days, you probably had, I don't know, top 20 riders in the world, were English, weren't they, or heading that way. And every year Australia used to have a British Lions touring team go out there, didn't they? I think John Berry took them out, and different managers or whatever took a touring team out there. But I think a lot of it was sorted out in them days, wasn't it, by Nigel Bulcock, I think, in Australia, wasn't it? He sorted it out then. Did
you never fancy it, Nigel? Did you ever get the opportunity?
I was never good enough to do that, Derek. I was never good enough to do that, really.
You're the most modest man ever, Nigel Crabtree.
No. Hey, but in my day, you'll agree on this one. We're talking about national titles and that. Them British finals, what they had in them days, and Robbo's rode in a few of them, hasn't he? Simon's rode in one. And they'd kill for that British title in them days. It was very near a close. Well, it wasn't a closed shop. You had to qualify for it. I qualified for one, and I rode out my skin, and I qualified for one. But any one of them 16 men, well, 15 the day I qualified, could have won that British final. I'm sure they couldn't they? There was the Martins, the Collins. There was loads of them, wasn't there? John Davis, Michael Lee. Yeah. I could go on and on and on. It was a massive thing, was to win your national title in them days. Obviously, like Lamo said, we don't get that nowadays, do we? Or I do believe, whether you're riding in this country or not, if you're British, the likes of Ty, Robert Lambert, Dan Bewley, whether they ride in this country or not, they should. I feel they should ride for in the British final. Not just one of them might win it. There's a good chance they will, but it's good for the crowd, isn't it, to see them top English riders around as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be the top 16 English riders. End of.
To me, it should be the most natural thing in the world to want to compete in your own national title.
You would think so. You would think so, Derek. But like Lambo says, it'll come down to money.
Possibly.
I'll tell you now, Danny King, I know Danny, whenever he knows the British final, he puts everything into that meeting.
There you go. You know what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean? But then I could name 4 or 5 riders, which I won't. I guarantee you've only got to look at withdrawals, maybe the last 2 or 3 years.
You can see
because they're injured. But if they got a meeting the next night, they're suddenly fit again. Because listen, I've done 3. I think I've had 2 crap ones and 1 really good one. And I come 8th in the British final one year, and I was absolutely buzzing. I won 2 races. My little boy was there. Dad, you won a race, yeah. I won 2, mate, and I was live on telly. I must have had all my family and friends cheering for me. I got 400 quid for it, and I come 8th.
But you know what, Simon?
I didn't get any travel money, no this, no that. I probably made 150 quid out of that by the time I put my diesel, my food, and everything.
You'd have probably paid 150 quid to ride in it, though, wouldn't you?
Exactly. I don't disagree with that, right? Yeah. Exactly, because it was prestige and I did myself justice, you know what I mean? But 400 quid for something like that in this day and age, it doesn't really buy you much. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's sickening.
Listen, on that note, that will do us for episode 1 of the new year. We've kind of eased ourselves in gently, but I've really enjoyed getting back behind the mic and talking Speedway once again. As ever, I hope you've enjoyed it out there. Please do let us know through comments and certainly through that little thumbs up, a small but powerful action that we would like you to take, just to show your appreciation of what we do on 360 Speedway. Listen, we will keep our eyes across social media. We will generate some of our own as we normally do. And look after yourselves, keep warm, and we will see you same time next week. Good night.
Good night.
No.